What's happening, Shutter Nation? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of Shred Your Body. I'm your host, Jesse James Jamnik. This is episode number 19 with a guy who's becoming a better friend of mine as we continue to trial and tribulation and go through this process together. But I'm here tonight with Mr. Brad Seay. So welcome, Brad, to Shred Your Body. I'm really excited to jump into this and dive into this with you, brother.
Awesome. It's good to be here, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, dude. So before we get started, for those of you guys that are just joining us, as you come in, drop into the comments, say hello, let us know where it is you're coming in from. I see Susan. What's up, Susan? We just want to say hi. We want to make sure, the ER Shred community is, I think, the best part of the ER Shred, and Brad and I will talk about that tonight. But really, the goal of the ER Shred, we launched this in October of last year. We've had hundreds of people go through this now with ridiculous physical transformations, mental transformations. I mean, I believe in my soul that it's one of the best health protocols out there because it encompasses both mental and physical. And really the goal is, why do we want you to tune in? Why do we want you to join us? We have this mission where we are just out to create more functionally fit human beings on the mental side, on the physical side, becoming a more functionally fit version of yourself, which thus elevates everyone else around you and everything around you. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, we just want you to do it better. And there's no better way, there's no better place to start than with your health, because your health is your greatest wealth. And I've been preaching this forever, but it directly impacts life, relationship, career, everything. Would you agree with that, Brad?
100%.
For sure, right? I mean, your life has definitely changed, which we're going to dive into. So let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into this. We got Paul, we got your dad's on here, which has been really cool. We'll talk about you getting your family involved and what that's done on a family aspect. We got April. So I'm excited, Brad, because I consider you to be like an OG shredder. I mean, you've done 11-day shreds. I mean, you were so into this that I literally had to call you and say, Brad, it's okay if we play around with other foods, because you were just like crushing it in love and life. I know when you started, Brad, you didn't come into this. And another reason I'm excited to talk to you is, the cool thing is everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own story. And when you came into the ER Shred, you were 178 pounds. You weren't overweight. You weren't technically like, having these crazy, crazy things, although you found some underlying issues, right? I know you were working on cholesterol. I know you were working on some inflammation, some aches and pains because you served 20 years in the military. So before I forget, thank you for your service. Everybody make sure that they reach in there and tell Brad he spent 20 years, 8 of them in the Navy, 12 of them in the Army, right? You've definitely done your time. So mucho gracias, my friend. But for you, Brad, all right, here we go. We're having a little technical difficulty, but we're gonna work through this. But anyways, so let's dive into this, Brad. You've been doing that. When did you first start your first shred?
I started my first shred in October. I think it was October 17th.
So you were literally right at the beginning. Like we had just like decided to be like, okay, we're going for it and put it out there. And you happen to see right at the beginning.
Right
That's
in the
crazy.
beginning.
How
Yeah.
did you originally find out about the ER shred in the first place?
Okay, so originally the way I found out about it was I came in through isogenics for I came in
Yeah.
for my cholesterol. That I wanted to do find something, and I had done isogenics in the past. Back in 2014, I did it for about a year, and I had good results with the old 11-day shred
For sure.
and the 30 days. So when I was going through all my issues and I had to fix something, I was just searching through isogenics, and I had gotten back in touch with my sponsors, Rick and Natasha Whedon,
Yep.
and I saw where the isogenics had some, heart products on there.
Yep.
So I was like, you know what? I'll go back and I'll do an 11-day again. So that's how I got back into the 11 days. So as soon as I started, I was doing research and looking up stuff, and that's when I came across one of Sean's videos, like during the
Uh-huh.
first normal shred,
Yeah.
or yeah, they called it shred
So
too.
you
But
saw Captain Caveman himself flash across your
I
computer screen or your phone.
I
He's on
did.
here. We always gotta crack on each other, right? Me and Sean. So you saw you saw the original caveman flash across, and what kind of caught your attention? What kind of sparked your interest? And then I want to dive into how you got there in the first place.
Actually, so I guess he just came across as somebody I could relate to very much. He's very
Yeah,
authentic. Came
he
across as,
is.
and
Yeah,
it kind of sucked me into to watching him and like clicking through his videos, and I'm like, wow, this makes sense. I should
yeah,
give this a try. So that's what drew me in, and I actually messaged him and told him that initially. He probably
yeah.
thought I was or something, but
Nah. Dude, as you've probably have come to learn, Sean and I crack on each other because we're very good friends. We're literally like brothers. I would take a bullet for that man. I would literally take a bullet for him. And Sean believed in me, Brad, when I didn't believe in myself.
right,
He saw something that I didn't see, and he has this amazing gift of just meeting people where they're at. He's very real, he's very authentic, he's not ashamed of anything, he's not scared to tell the truth. It takes a lot of courage. It takes extreme
right,
courage to share and be vulnerable the way that Sean, just the way that Sean is. I mean, he is the ultimate total package. So I understand why you felt that. I felt that for the last 6 years of my life. And I totally get it, bro. I totally get it. So, you touched on something. Isogenics has a product called Heart Booster. It's a heart booster. It's a booster to one of our amazing shakes. And the ER Shred chose to work with and partner with Isogenics because ER Shred obviously is its own protocol. It's not necessarily Isogenics backed, although we know that they put their money where their mouth is. The products are high quality. The certification is there, and we wanted to make sure if we're going for ultimate health, we don't want to take chances. And coming from a guy like me, being in the industry for 20 years, I can tell you, not everything is made that way. You know what I mean? Like it's not all there. And I'm sure over the years of you being in the military, working out, I'm sure you've had your fair share of stuff you put in your body too, where now you might look at it and be like, what the hell was I thinking? What was I thinking?
absolutely,
You know what I mean?
100%.
So how did you get to, let's now rewind and let's get into share your story, Brad, about you so we can get to know you better and kind of figure out how you came to this place. You went through some years of frustration that I know that there can be a lot of people are going to relate to because I've
Right,
been there, a lot of other people have been there, and then we'll kind of wrap it up and come full circle into how, we know how you found the ER Shred now, but we'll get to how you got there and really what you feel that the major difference is. And I mean, you are just crushing it right now. I mean, you are literally destroying the game. Like, I'm so excited for you to watch your before and after photo from now. And I know that you're just skimming the iceberg. Like you're finally like, you're making this aha moment. You're putting this connection together. So what kind of drew you first? Let's talk about childhood. Tell me about life growing up. Were you into sports? Were you into athletics? Were you physically fit? Like what was that like growing up for you?
I was an athlete growing up. I grew up playing sports all year round. I played
Cool.
baseball, football, and wrestling.
Okay.
That was pretty much. It was something going on all year round growing up as a kid.
Was that just in
All
your family? Like dad was involved and
all mostly all the men in my family were athletes growing
yeah.
up, even some well. But yeah, sports was a big thing growing up. And I'm from a small town where that's a lot. It's a big thing in here. There's not
Where are
really
you
much
where are
else to
you
do.
from,
I'm
Brad? Where are you from?
from I'm from Louisa, Virginia. It's right in the most center point of Virginia.
Oh, you grew up there and you still live there?
Right. I
Oh
moved
wow.
back here to.
Very cool. Very cool. So small town, sports are a big deal. High school football was like the thing. Like, that's kind of like what I'm visioning. Is that true?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I get it now. So I get it. So sports all your life. So was there ever anything? Was it just always athletics? Did you grow up? Did you ever? Was there any struggles, or was it just pretty much a pretty normal, if you will, type of you know path?
Ev- I had a perfectly normal childhood. I didn't have any issues, honestly, growing up. My parents were separated at a young age and both remarried, so I was
Yeah.
back and forth. But they were both great parents and both involved with everything, um, involved with the sports side of things. So he's the one that got me into that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I went all the way up through high school doing that, and I wanted to go on.
Bear with me, folks. Brad's popping in and out for some reason. He has issues with this. His thing just cuts out. So that's why we were a little bit late this morning, but he's popping back on, so he comes back in and out. So there you are, buddy.
Yeah, I'm
Just keep
back.
going. Don't worry about it. I covered you in
Yeah,
between. Don't
so
worry.
yeah, so sorry about that. I'll just keep coming back in if I get cut out. But
Yeah, no worries.
so yeah, I went through school playing sports, and my senior year of high school, I weighed 135 pounds because that's the wrestling weight I weighed in
Okay.
at. So
Yep.
I was always cutting weight to stay at that weight, and that probably wasn't the normal weight I was supposed to be at. So I went on from there and graduated high school at 17, and so I weighed 135 pounds at graduating, and I went right into the military at 17. Uh,
Okay.
my my parents my parents had to sign for me to go and give consent because I started
Yeah.
school at 4, so I graduated early. But then I went on into the military, and while I was in basic training, I actually gained 30 pounds. So when I
Wow.
graduated basic training, because I was eating, when I was starving myself as a wrestler in high school. So I pretty much maintained that weight between 165 pounds to 175 pounds pretty much the majority of my life after basic training.
Okay. So all through the military, you just kind of right around that marker. That's pretty cool. So for you, what kind of made you you said that you would have liked to keep going with sports. Was that just not necessarily an option? And then for you, it was, I mean, what kind of steered you towards the military, say, versus school or something of that nature?
Right. So I think it was during Desert Storm with all the stuff that was going on in the news when I was in elementary school watching that. I kind of had made up my mind at that point that I wanted to be a soldier or in
Mm,
the military support. And also being from a small town, I wanted to travel and see the world. And I thought that was the way to do it. We didn't have much money growing up, so I didn't know if I didn't ask. I should have asked, but I didn't know if college was even an option when I was a kid. Well,
for
when
sure.
I was, school. So I kind of put it in my mind already that I was going in the military to go travel and see things,
Very cool.
and that's what.
Yeah. So what made the first choice be the Navy? Was it the traveling aspect, the being out? What kind of like drew you to that?
No, I actually went to talk to the Marine Corps first, and it was the recruiter that kind of turned me off of that. So, um,
Okay.
it was just the way he came at me about the offering, what they had, and it just turned. And Marine Corps is great too. I just it wasn't he wasn't for me. So I
Yeah.
went to the next recruiter. I was kind of, how you buy a new car, you don't want to just buy the first one you jump into. So I looked around at different things, and it
Yeah.
seemed at that time it seemed like the Navy seemed like the best thing for me.
Very cool. So you went into Navy. What'd you do in the Navy?
I was an air crewman. I went
Okay.
into I wanted to be a search and rescue swimmer. It wasn't in my contract, so I only got the first part of air crew, the first part of rescue swimmer school, and then
Yep.
I went on to become an aviation mechanic with the Navy,
Very
and
cool.
yeah.
Very cool. And then you did so after 8 years, you flipped. You made a switch to branches. What happened there? What came about? How did that whole transition come into play?
So I had a good friend that we were had plans after I got out of the Navy to open our own gym,
Okay.
a high school. And so I made up my mind. I was getting out and we were going to start our own gym and try to get a franchise of gyms going at the
Yeah.
time. I had big dreams. And then stuff happened with him financially, and just it didn't come to fruition. It didn't happen.
Okay.
So just he kind of disappeared for a minute. I don't hold any grudges against him. We're still good friends now, but at the time I didn't hear from him. I didn't know what to do. So during my terminal leave from the Navy, I knew someone that was already in the military in the Army here.
Yeah.
And they were a good family. And I talked to them, and so the day I got out of the Navy was the day I swore back into the into the Army. So,
Funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how that.
Okay. And then did you do the same? Did you do the same thing in the Army, or did you switch MOSs?
No, so what was offered to me? I came in to go infantry at first, and then I was initially put right into a recruiting position.
Okay.
So I did that, and that's what I ended up becoming a career recruiter and an instructor for the Army.
Okay.
And so I travel all around doing, I traveled around a lot more with that as well, but it
Yeah.
was all in Virginia. So
Very cool.
yeah.
So that was the rest of your time. So you spent that in doing the training, doing the recruiting, and kind of living the life, right? Doing your thing and
Well, not really doing my thing. So back when I was in the Navy, I met my ex, and so I had a family at this point too. So
okay.
that was another reason I went right into the military. I knew the military, and I guess I needed that security at the time. It felt safe for me, and the camaraderie that I just knew it was for me. So
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Now, and then during this time was it you always stay were you always physically fit? Were you always did you find yourself working out? Did you find time in between? Because I know recruiting is a crazy schedule.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over the place, right? Did you always find time for that? Was it always nutrition? Did you always kind of play that? Did it have a piece somewhere?
All the way growing up, through high school, whenever, besides having to cut weight in the military, after I went in the Navy, I pretty much could eat whatever I wanted to, but I was always working out but it got to a certain point, like, and like you just said, in recruiting, it's a very busy job and you're on the road a lot can you hear me, Jesse?
I can hear you. You're good, buddy.
Yeah, so you get on the road and you're driving a lot, so a lot of fast food stops and not working out quite as much as I did before, but that's kind of what led me down the.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how there's always something, you know what I mean? Like I feel like every person I talk to, Brad, if I just ask enough questions, I always find that. And here's yours, right? So you have this thing, childhood, physical fitness, mentality, it's there. You get to a point in life where you make a career decision and life, like it's life happens and you don't really mean for it to happen, but it happens. You got kids, you got career, you got work-life balance, you're trying to manage. And it's just like, before you know it, it's like, oh, I'll do this one time. And then that one time turns into two times. And then before you know it, it's a year. And then you're like, oh, shit, I'm 5 pounds heavier, or I don't feel as good anymore, or whatever the case may be. And it creates this thing, right? So for you, did that bother you at all? I would imagine being somebody who's been physically fit for so long. I know, like, if I get an injury, let's say, and I have to take, say 2 weeks out, or there goes Brad again. So we'll wait for him to come back so I can finish it. But thank you for bearing with us. Obviously, it's just some weird connection that Brad has with this thing. So he's popping back in now. So luckily, it's a quick little fix. But see, there we go. So this is a cool thing with StreamYard too, is unlike that, like Zoom, we would have to log back in, take all this thing, and you just boop, here we go. So what I was saying was, I know that when I have to take time off or when I program it in, I actually had to train my brain to understand that that was okay. Like I take time off now in a very, very different approach than I used to. But did that start to mess with you at all when you kind of felt yourself not being the same as you were for your whole life, basically?
It did, but I at the time I thought it was the job and not getting enough sleep, but it
Okay.
was more. And now looking back, I'm sure it was more of the diet than anything. Because if I had been eating better, it wouldn't have been as bad,
Yeah.
Because
Well,
there's a lot.
I think you have a point in saying it's the sleep, it's the extra stress because of that cortisol. And I mean, we can get into all kinds of science as to what was happening. But yeah, the nutrition's a big part of it. And then everything else combined, we throw our life kind of off whack, right? We have to try to somehow try to balance this holistic circle, which is so much easier said than done. Right. And we have to try to somehow balance this moving pieces that's moving every day in all different directions, but yeah, it's that combination of it. So, all right, so you do 12 more years in the army. You decide that 20 years is enough. You did a little over 20 years, and now you're going to officially retire, right?
Well, I think it came down more to before I retired. My When the health started going, my things started feeling bad in my body, and the doctors I couldn't get them to fix anything. Like I was going to get X-rays and different things and trying to get these problems. They were wanting to put me on medication, and I'm not a big fan of taking. I don't, like you said in the like I said before, I don't even like taking Tylenol for
Yeah.
headaches. So, but earlier in like 2012, I had was separate going through a separation with my ex, and that added a lot of stress. And then
Yep.
going through the court stuff, I ended up having to pay quite a bit in child support. So I didn't have the money come in. So that was another reason what was easy for me at that time with that job was like, all right, I'm broke. Where am I going now? I'm going to the dollar menu. So I was eating a lot of drive-through stuff at that point, and drinking beer and stuff with
Yep.
with buddies, and because
Yep.
I was so on the weekends I was out playing music and drinking then as also. So
Yep.
I all that played part into how I was feeling, and still I still wasn't weighing that much. I still only weighed like 75 pounds, something like
Yeah.
that. And
So you said you're talking about problems and stuff. Like what are some of these things that you're starting to notice where your health is not necessarily in check? Like what was starting to make you worried about all?
so I had issues with my back that I couldn't I the doctors couldn't tell me anything. They said it was muscular stuff, so they tried to give me Flexerol, and that stuff kind of knocked me all over the place.
Yeah.
I hated it. To take it anymore. And that's kind of when I started looking into the nutrition stuff to see if there's anything I could do to eat to make me feel better.
Gotcha.
Um, you know, and that's when I was getting a little bit older at this point, and I was like, I gotta find some other way than having to stay on medication my whole life. I don't want to grow up like like people in my family that are having to take a pill for everything before they eat dinner, and I just don't
Yeah.
want that. So when I started getting a little bit more serious about, at least like looking into different things and trying different diets and different things like that.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes, Susan, I agree. He is smart. And Susan's saying that he's smart because he didn't give up on himself, because he advocated for himself to obviously get better.
yeah. Sorry about that, Jesse. This is
You're
kind
good,
of
man. Just
frustrating
go.
with this thing.
You're good. So yeah,
Yeah. So
so Susan, I was saying Susan, who's obviously on our health board, she's a holistic nurse, you know her. She was saying, she commented smart, and she was saying you're smart for looking for something more, because as we know, too many people just give up. Too many people just, they know something's wrong. The doctor, we for some reason give all this trust to doctors. And while they may have the best intentions, they might not necessarily have all the answers. Like, your body better than anyone else, right? So kudos to you to
right.
fight for it. So that was when, Brad. When was this? What's this time frame that we're looking at here?
This was around the time I came into I got back in touch with my friend that the business didn't work out with. He's also a bodybuilder, and
Okay.
we were trying to come up with a new game plan. So he told me about the products he was using, which happened to be the Isogenics products, and that's how I got in touch with Rick and Natasha through that. But
So
so
that's
that's
when,
when I
so when you decided that there had to be other ways and you were looking for nutrition, that's this piece of how it all started to come together.
right. That's I came across that after I had tried a few different things like Atkins and different things like that at that time.
Yeah, tell
And
me about
so
those. So you tried a bunch of stuff. You told me you did everything from Atkins to keto to vegetarian and vegan. I mean,
right, I tried it all.
that's a big span.
Right. And it was just through research and different things, you can find good in all of them. So I was you know, I'd give them all a shot and just monitor and see how I felt. And but rewinding back a little bit before that, when I was getting out of the military, this was after the military when I really started diving into the things, because I kind of got out of isogenics after I think it was about a year, because of the job and recruiting. I really honestly got into it because of the new, not just because of the nutrition, but I wanted another source of income at the time.
Okay.
So that's what drew me to that. And I had great success with the products, but
Yeah.
then with the job that I had, with the being so busy, and by this point I'm remarried. I'm with my current wife now, and we have three more children. So,
Yeah.
um, well, we had two at that
Yeah.
point, but so we did isogenics and then moving, and I wasn't able to invest the time into it, so I kind of just got out of isogenics and went
Yeah.
back into the old thing for whatever reason. I don't know, because I felt good doing
Yeah.
doing isogenics.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then it went back to the same old things, and then my wife and I would have spells where we were like, we got to do something, let's get in shape, and we go try to eat healthy, and we'd work out for a while and get on a program and do it and have success, and then go back again to do
What do you
old.
so what do you think, Brad? Because you're describing what millions of people suffer from. You're describing basically a yo-yo dieting mentality, and there is ridiculous science that isn't even fully published just yet that shows that there is no diet on the face of this planet that actually works. It's got to be you got to address key fundamental issues at play and really kind of make it into more of a lifestyle base. And I can't wait for that to actually come. But what do you think for you? Like, what made you get to a point where you're like, okay, enough is enough, and I gotta go, and you feel good, but then you reverse backwards. What do you think it is that makes like what made you guys just stop after feeling so good? Like, was it not sustainable? Was there something missing? Like what was the good? What was the bad? Kind of help me understand that.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it's one of they for me weren't sustainable. It was hard. I couldn't see continuing any of those for long periods of time. For
Was there something that stood out though? Like why do you say that?
There was a one diet that stood out, but the one that I felt the best on, anyways, and that was a steak and eggs diet. But
Okay.
even with that, there were things missing from it. Like, other than though obviously there's things that you're gonna lack if you're just eating steak and eggs every day.
Yeah.
So I think I did that for like 2 months. I ate steak and eggs every day, and I felt good, but not 100. It wasn't like what we have now. That
Yeah, yeah.
because the missing
Okay.
we
So did you find was it kind of the same thing when you did vegan, when you did vegetarian, when you did keto? I mean, was it always that you had some sort of success, but yet you could never make it like go past? because we're going to dive into I mean, you did 5-11 days, but you've been going hard in between those ever since. Like, I want to know like the biggest difference, like what makes you stick now to what was like, what happened over these course of years that always made you not keep going. Like,
Right. I will try. I know the answer to that, but I don't want to fast forward and end it so fast. So,
that's
um,
funny. Okay,
but the
so
answer
let's
that
do this.
I'll,
So you try all these diets. You say the steak and eggs was there. Now, in my brain, in my science brain, it clicks to me and understands why. You're feeding your body fat, essential proteins, amino acids. You're taking away the crap carbs. You're not spiking your blood sugar levels. You're not creating insulin, running rampant through your body. Like, I go on and on and on about why you probably felt the best on that one. The craziest thing is it's not mainstream, but damn, it's the best way to fuel your body, right? For sure. I can confidently say that now, after doing this myself for a long period of time. So now you're at this point. So now you're trying all these diets. Did that mess with you at all? Do you think, like, when you did it and then quit again and then went back again, like, did that mess with the brain at all, or was life just so crazy with kids and everything else going on that?
I don't feel like maybe it was. I'm sure it had a negative effect on my body and my brain, but at the time, I was just searching for something that made me feel great, and I couldn't find it to get rid of those issues that I was having. Just anything I could try.
There he goes. So fun. So fun. Let's see. What do we got going on while we wait for this guy to come back? Here he comes.
I'm back. Sorry about that. So anything I could try, I would give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I, the biggest thing that I can tell you the answer to what it was. I all the cravings that I for things that I love, which is my favorite things are like pizza is my favorite food, and I love beer. And those cravings with all those other diets never went away, no matter nothing that I tried. And
Interesting. So
but as
everything, nothing, whether it was keto, whether it was steak and eggs, whether it was vegan, whether it was vegetarian, and everything in the mid Atkins, nothing ever subsided the carb, nothing ever subsided those cravings, nothing actually.
no,
Do you feel, knowing what you know now compared to everything else, do you feel that none of those things actually ever addressed the root issue, like the actual root cause in the first place? So it never actually
and
made you like have the aha moment? Would you say, is that a true statement?
yes, I never had an aha moment with any of the other things that I tried.
Yeah,
One hundred
very
percent.
cool. So now you fast forward a little bit, you get to a point, you try all these other things, and how did you get reintroduced again to um, Isogenics products?
Okay, so then I had a doctor's visit. When I got out of the military, the doctor told me I had high cholesterol, and my mom told me it was hereditary, that you're gonna, just something, and you'll probably have to take care of down the road, start eating better. And so eating the oatmeal every day, different things like that, that I would try. I tried that also. And, you know, it, I think my triglyceride levels were over 400 at the time when I got out of the military. And that is ridiculous. It's very high. And then when I got my job where I work now, I had to take a physical, and the doctor called me back and said you should go get your blood work done again at my doctor. So I went, and my doctor called me back and said, I need you to come. I want to give you a prescription that you need to get on medication immediately. And again, my hard headed self, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I didn't feel like I needed to do that. That
Yeah,
there's got to be another way. That's what drew me to back. Like I said before, I'm kind of bringing it back now again to where I
yeah,
came back to.
yeah. So that kind of in your brain, you knew that you had good results with this before. So you just kind of circled back around again and been like, okay, like it's time to go
Right.
again.
And I knew that I mean, it wasn't the like everybody knows the original 9 day system. It's great, but it's eating the 400 to 600 calorie meals and the cleanses the way we did it before. It was just, for me, it was miserable. But I sucked it up, Buttercup, like you said. I did that back then, and I pushed through it and would. But like that wasn't sustainable for me, like
Yeah.
doing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as I swear by the products that we use because I've searched a lot of places now, and to have something so consistent across the board with so many things, I've yet to find, Brad. Um, but I agree. I knew when I started as an athlete, like I couldn't necessarily sustain the basic thing. It's only a short period of time because the body's very smart. The body's going to adapt. And again, if we're not actually addressing the root causes of what is causing the problems in the first place, we can actually never fix anything. You know what I mean? And really, it's not. This stuff doesn't fix anything. I want to make that very clear. We're not going to say, before I get into stuff that Brad had personally. This is Brad's story. We're not going to tell you that we can treat, prevent, cure any disease. These aren't magical things. This isn't fairy dust coming down from the sky. Like, health doesn't work that way. But the cool thing is with the Shred protocol, and Brad will talk about some of this stuff, we address the root causes, we get them quick, we get them under control fast. People have aha moments, and it's like the culmination of all these things. Because like you said something really cool, Brad, that I actually realized when I went through one of my nutrition schools. And you said you can find positive in everything, and you're right, you can. But I think a big problem is that with a lot of diets out there, they're not actually trying to address fundamental health. I think they're spinning something from a report or spinning something that caught mainstream attention, and it's spinning for the business aspect versus actually giving somebody something that's going to physically address health that can be sustainable for every walk of life, whether you're old, young, athletic, non-athletic. That's what we're seeing in the Shred. We see the whole spectrum, right? From our senior citizens to young children to athletes. I mean, we have everybody across the board. So that was a really cool observation that you made, because I think that you always hear me talk about the Shred as this fusion of a multiple different scientific concepts where we took the best of it and we got rid of the crap, but we just brought the best. It's like failing in life, right? Like, how many times have we failed? If you learn your lesson from it, the failure is not such a shitty situation. Yeah, it's shitty, but it's not so shitty because you learned from it and got stronger, got better, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for
That
you personally, your story personally, you came in because you had high cholesterol. You refused to take medication. You knew that you could do something. I don't know where you learned that from, but kudos to you for knowing that if you fuel the body the right way, your body will heal itself. It's magical. There's no magic here, but your body's magic. And if you just give it the fighting chance, which is good quality food, it will heal itself. So you get back into using isogenics, the original system, and pretty quickly you found Shred.
very quickly, like right away when I was doing my first cleanse, but the first normal 11 day, because immediately my next order was, I was already ordering the stuff for the Shred.
Gotcha.
So
Awesome. Very cool. So you do the shred, your very first shred. Let's get into the goods now, right? So your very first shred, your first 11 days, tell me what happened in those 11 days.
all the inflammation in my body that I had been putting up, I just thought I would have to live with the rest of my life. Plantar fasciitis. Like, I know we can't say we diagnose, treat, or cure anything, but I had serious back issues that bothered me every day. Like I just thought it was something I would have to live with.
Yeah.
And fetched like sleep apnea, different things that I actually get disability for through the military. And they were starting to like these things started going away. I was like, what the hell is this? Like I've never like it's starting to like by the end of it I felt good. The first I think it really didn't I didn't feel great until probably about day 7
Yeah.
for me. I didn't come alive on day 5. I was having loose stool and different things going on in my body, but I
Yeah.
stuck it out just to follow it and see what happens, and it worked. I didn't ask many questions. I kind of just followed, the protocol.
Yeah. What made you have blind faith so much like that? Because that takes, some people would freak out, right? And what you're describing, I'm really glad that you do that because I'm always very upfront with people. I'm like, look, this is the great I truly believe after 20 years of doing this and putting myself through the ringer, I mean, I've tried and tested more things than you know what I mean? Like I've been there, like I'm with you. What made you have that blind faith to know that even through like some loose stools and stuff to that nature, what helped you hold on to keep pushing?
It was Sean, you and Sean Escobar, listening to you guys talking. Honestly, that's why I stuck it out. It's our community. That's what made me stick it out. I mean, I would have done it anyway. I already paid for the product, so I was going to use them up anyway. So I made. If it weren't for you guys, I probably would have not stayed, true to the protocol. But I did,
Yeah.
just from listening to your videos and there was you guys are inspirational to me. I mean, I was looking at something. We're all about the same age, so I was like, I don't know. I just trusted what he was saying, which is
Yeah.
odd for not and never meeting him before, but I
Yeah.
just there was a connection that I felt that I was like, I can trust what he's saying. Like it's gonna work.
Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you, he's
And
got
I
a
put
magic touch. He's got a magic touch.
what's
What's up?
that?
I said he's
I
got a
said I'm
magic
pretty.
touch.
Yes, he did, and I'm very thankful to him.
That's awesome, man. That makes me really, really excited. So thank you for sharing that. So you get through 11 days. Day 7, what happens on day 7? You said your come alive day was, we said ER shred come alive, right? Because I truly believe that this protocol is going to hit you so fast and you're going to have this aha moment that you're going to be like,
Right.
holy shit. Like you're going to almost think that it's not real because you're like, um, you almost don't even realize how bad you felt until you don't feel that way anymore, right? Where you're like, I thought this was just going to be daily life, right? So for you,
Right.
day 7, what happened when you said you came alive on day 7? Describe that to me if you can.
My energy levels had gotten. I mean, I was up and at it, and I work a very odd schedule, and I had no issues. Like I work shift schedule, so it's back and forth days to nights, and the energy I had, and I was working out too, and I was playing with my kids, like, and I felt great doing it. That was the
Yeah,
biggest thing for me. I didn't. So that was
yeah,
and clarity. I was able. I could focus better, and I feel like so much. So workouts, I was recovering faster from all my workouts I was doing, and it was awesome.
yeah. So you finish 11 days, and what was the biggest? So you have more increased energy, your mental focus is on point, your body, your inflammation inside your body is drastically decreased, right? You have
Right.
energy. You mentioned something about having energy to work and work out and have time for your kids. I would imagine, you seem, from what I can tell, you seem like a very in tune, very connected dad. You know what I mean? That's all involved in everything, right? I think I even saw a picture of you with like, then I see like something like in your hair with like nails or pictures or something like that, right? So I can tell that
Yeah.
you're that kind of guy, which is awesome. It speaks volumes for you. Um, so was that a big issue before, like having that energy to work and still come home for family and be present? Was that a
Right. It
struggle before?
was a struggle. I mean, and it sucked. And I was, and at that time, I couldn't even work out. I didn't even want to work out. So like you just said, yeah, I am a very involved dad. So I mean, everything I do for them. Even this, I want to live longer for them. So,
Yeah,
you know, I needed to buckle down and take control of my health.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So you finish 11 days and you have all these non-scale victories. And I know you shared with me that you didn't take your measurements. You wish you did, but you didn't do it, which is fine because you were looking at it for different things. And I think that's an important message, Brad. And I'm glad that we focused on this because this isn't a diet. This isn't about a diet. This is addressing so many more issues. This is about deep fat. This is about toxins. This is about inflammation. This is about hormone regulation. I mean, we're talking like really, really important things to impact daily quality of health, right? On a bigger scale. So I'm really excited that we're not just talking about weight loss here. You know that I'm always preaching to people, congratulations, but what else besides the weight in the inches? What else is there going on? Because that's the shit that we always forget. And I'm so glad that you're bringing that to light, that we can focus and really kind of address a lot of things that people struggle with. I think we just
Right.
brush them aside. And it's like, oh, I'm so tired. You shouldn't feel like that every day. You shouldn't feel like that as a human being every day. Oh, my body is sore. You're 40 years old. Like, okay, a couple aches and pains. Okay, I can let you get away with that. But damn, man, I'm 41 and I feel like I'm 18 every day. Like you shouldn't feel hurting and pain. Like if you understand the body, you know what I mean? So for you to have those things, what kind of value, if you could you put a value on that of what that brought to life, like just getting those things back and feeling normal in that essence?
Well, yeah, that was huge for me because always in the back of my mind, I thought the same thing. Like, there's no way I should feel this much pain at this age. Like, I shouldn't feel like an
Yeah.
old man at 40. And, so the value, I mean, it's priceless for, you know, what I've gained through this. I mean, that's why, I mean, and the biggest thing was like all those other things that I had tried before. The huge thing was the cravings are gone. Like, it's something I can actually stick to and enjoy it. Like, I enjoy eating like this. So, and I don't
So
crave
you
any other
you I
food.
wait a minute. I just want to make it clear. You, a man who tried everything from keto to vegan, who could never crush his cravings, you're telling me that you no longer crave per se the bear and the pizza?
I have cravings now, but it's like I crave bacon and meat. I mean, I like juicy meat and eggs and butter. Like that's what I crave now. So I don't
Dude,
have
that makes
cravings for.
isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? I mean, dude, I used to eat things because I thought they were healthy. I used to eat things because that's what I was taught. You know what I mean? And it's like a guy who was craving beer. You know, I know people who are like, I gotta have my beer every night.
Right.
You're hiding, you're masking the weak energy, you're masking the pain, you're masking the fact that you're just not happy with life. And a lot of people won't admit that. It takes a lot to admit that. But if you can admit that and come to a place where you're open to examine different ways and figure out things about yourself, you are the prime example of what can happen. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy. Have you tried pizza again? Have you tried beer in between your shreds and stuff like that?
Very very little since I started. Since October, I've maybe had maybe 4 slices of pizza since October. I mean, small
Is
slices.
it because you feel that you can't have it, or is there a different reasoning behind it?
There's a different reasoning because so I think the first three. So between my first, second, and third shred, between those shreds, I stuck with meat and shakes. I didn't go off. I didn't eat. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. So I did a shred in October when I started,
Okay.
and
Yep.
then I did my second shred in November, and between all that up to that whole time in between, I stuck to meat and shakes, and then then Thanksgiving came around, and I ate Thanksgiving meal with my family, and it jacked me up. I mean, it messed my system up pretty bad.
What do you
But
mean by that? How did it jack you up?
I mean, diarrhea and just not and bloating. I just did not feel good. Like it was horrible. It was a horrible feeling,
Okay.
and it just oh, and I and it scared me as a weird thing to say, but it scared me. I'm like, I don't want to go back to feeling like I feel great now. I don't want to go back to feeling, jacked up again like I was before. So
Yeah.
I went back right immediately back to eating shakes and meat. And then in December, I did another um, shred, and I pretty much stuck with the meat and shakes in between all the way through. And then I think after that one was when you and I talked for the first time on the phone, where
Yep.
you uh, where you said, maybe you can try adding some different things in. And I just didn't want to change. I didn't want to risk like the feeling that the great feeling how I felt. I didn't want to
Yep.
risk eating something I wasn't sure how it would react with my body. I didn't want to go through that.
Yeah.
So I didn't add anything. Even after you told me, I was really hesitant to add anything. I did add avocado. I started adding like half an avocado, and I kept cutting weight, and I was like that's why I wish I had, because now my body is starting to transform differently because I was working out and eating and feeling great, and it got to the point where I was like I can do this forever. Like I don't want to go off, and then I got down to I got down to like 160 pounds, and I'm like, hold up, I don't want to lose any more weight. This was after my last shred. I'm like, I gotta cut it out. I don't want to lose more. So I started eating more calories, but I just to eat more meat. I'd eat like my normal day. I eat like 8 eggs a day, a pound of bacon. I eat steak, an avocado, a whole maybe two of them someday. But I
Hmm.
have stuck with that. I know it's not what you guys recommend. It's just I know I feel safe eating that. Not that I can't try other things, but I recently, because of that, I went back to weigh myself after bumping up my calories and eating a lot more. And this was like 3 weeks of doing that, like no cleansing, just eating
Hmm.
as much meat and eggs and butter as I could. And I went to go up, and I went down even more. I went down to 159. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I was still losing weight, even eating so much more food. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of six
Yeah.
burgers, four eggs. That's like one meal.
Yeah.
Um, and so now I've started adding different things in, like sweet potato. I'll eat a sweet potato. I tried that first to see how it would react, and
Yep.
it's good for me. I don't have any issues with that. So I
Very
eat
cool.
a couple of.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something, man. You're gonna do it. And the coolest part is, Brad, you've gotten yourself down to such a great baseline. You've gotten everything into control. Sometimes, you know what happens when you take a rubber band, like a thick rubber band, and you put it around two sticks and you just let it hang there? It's kind of just like a floppy rubber band, right? Sometimes you have to pull back that rubber band and create that tension and that strength. And for you, you put your body through so much trauma and abuse and diets and cortisol and life and stress and everything to this point that your body kind of had all this stuff inside, right? And you were smart enough to pull back and stick with something long enough where now your body's going to absorb everything better. It's going to process things better. You got better control of insulin. You got better control of pain. Like you're feeding your body. So when you go to the gym, you have more energy to do harder workouts. That's key. But what's even more important is you now know how to fuel your body for performance. So anybody who is worth their weight in athletic training will tell you it's not about the actual workout, it's about the recovery that matters. So you can work out hard, but if you can't recover to keep doing it over and over and over again, the results are going to be not as good as you want them to be. So I think you're in a prime position. Your body is shredded. Your before and after pictures from then to now are ridiculous. You can see the inflammation gone. You can see your body's functioning like a human being. You're getting muscle definition everywhere. And if you just keep adding it in, right? I can share with you, we'll do this some other time. I'll share with you some more tricks that I have, because I understand that struggle, because I keep 185 pounds of solid muscle while training for ultra marathons. So I get the struggle, and it's just about different tuning and pre and intra and post. And I'm happy to share that with you because that's the next step for you. But I want everybody to know this is a beautiful thing because you did it in phases and you did it where you weren't expecting miracles in 11 days. You weren't expecting miracles even in 11 days. You understand, Brad, the consistency factor. And I want to applaud you for that. And I want to really encourage everybody to learn from that because it's the consistency that you do every day. You show up every day, you keep going, you show up in the group, you learn, you give. I mean, you're just an essential member of that community, which let's talk about that a little bit, Brad. Let's talk about the power of the community and how that's helped you. I know you mentioned it, you said Sean and I, and we're very thankful for that. But really, we have 21.3 thousand people in our shredder community. It's the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. It's everybody's alive, it's active. I mean, it's just amazing to be a part of. And by the way, we offer that for free for everybody. Just go to www.ershredders.com. We'll take you right in there and request to join us. We'll accept you. We welcome all people, no matter where you're at. But talk to me about the community as we close this out. What is the difference? Like, do you think the community makes and breaks this? What has it done for you? And how has it played a role in your success today, do you think?
It's played a huge role. I mean, like I said, initially my community was you and Sean. That's the only people. If I didn't know anything else about it, I didn't like, and I was brand new. It was brand new, and
Yeah.
so the more I started following and seeing people like Bob Sibright and Mimi and different people, different ages having great results, I knew there was something magical about this here. So, and the huge thing is no negativity, which I don't deal with anyways. I just ignore it. But we don't
Yeah.
have it, and that's a big thing. And people being there, like when you have questions, a lot of people, may have questions, but don't, maybe they don't ask. A lot of us will, that question. If you do ask a question, it's answered right away by somebody, and
Yeah.
they know the answer. I like to be more involved than I would like to be more involved than I am with the community. It's hard sometimes with what I have going on, but um but yeah, it's great. The people are great.
Yeah.
Lenny, Natasha, and Rick are awesome. I mean, they're just great. I can't say
It's a
enough.
special bunch. Somebody just posted, I don't know who it is because it just says Facebook user, but they said no judgment. It's a no judgment zone. Like,
Yeah,
no judgment. We're going to help. But you're right, man. We don't, it's not a place where we're going to cut the bullshit. We're not going to baby you. We're going to get results. I'm so tired of being around that stuff myself, being in this industry for so long and just kind of seeing this half-ass way of doing it. Like, I want people in. I want people getting results. I want people's health being affected. I want people coming alive. I want people feeling like they're freaking human again. Like, that's my mission. That's my passion. I'm so happy you're a part of it. And everybody that you mentioned, I mean, we have everything from nurses to athletes to holistic doctors to chiropractors to functional medicine doctors to regular nurses to cardiac nurses to I mean, you name it, right? To moms, to dads, to every walk of life, old, young. I mean, it's just such an amazing thing where everybody comes together to support each other and lift each other up. And I mean, gosh, the work that's been done on the back end from amazing, people like Tara and Heather who put together our guides. I mean, do you feel that even if you don't know anything about nutrition or if you've been confused for years, do you feel that the average person can come in and see what we put together? And I mean, I almost think like you literally can't fail unless you deliberately self-sabotage yourself and like put a bomb in your own path, right? Like, isn't it
right.
do you feel it's that simple?
It is that simple, yes. And like you said, the community is just. I wish I would name more people like Adam Sisk and Heather and
So
Susan, all
many,
those people.
so
But
many.
yeah, it's so and I know I've missed thousands of you, but these are the people that I go to for, like the holistic, Susan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She information that she puts out is amazing. Stuff Adam puts out is awesome. Like the different mixtures of shakes and different things like that that come later on after the 11-day. But like even for one thing I didn't add was like even when we changed the protocol up a little bit with the hydrate, I didn't
Yep.
even go to. I even left my packets the same. I'm like, I know this works, so I don't need to
Yeah.
add anything. I'm just it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I mean, I've added stuff since like just the hydrate,
Yep.
but active community it's been freaking awesome, man.
That's awesome. And real quick, Brad, because we're right at we're a little over the top of the hour, but I don't want to forget how many people now. I know your dad has jumped on the ER shred. What else do you have going on in the family? You guys have kind of made this like a family thing, yeah?
Not really, just my wife and my dad, and my son and my brother, my brother, he does it sometimes. He didn't do the shred, but
Okay.
I mean that's I have 32 people in my downline now,
Yeah.
just with really not even honestly. I mean, we've been working at it, but thanks to Olivier, he helped out tremendously
Yeah.
with the Now site.
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge.
Yeah. Isn't it so cool to kind of find after all those years, all that struggle, you finally find something, right? And because you're not just a person that's tried one or two things. I mean, you've done the spectrum. So I mean, you've done your fair share of trial and error. Obviously, the military mind, the commitment, the dedication, that's helped you. I can see that play in everything where you won't give up. You put your mind to something, you do it. Isn't it cool to be able to pass that along? Because I think we have the greatest gift. Sean always describes it as we're firefighters, basically. You know what I mean? Like we see people on fire and we literally have something that can put them out as long as they're open to obviously learning. But
Right.
amazing, right?
It
Like
is amazing.
amazing. Yeah. And I know your dad, I've talked to your dad. He's crushing it. Your
He's
dad's
doing
story is amazing. Your wife's on board now, which is awesome. I mean, you guys are just setting the example for others to follow. And I mean, what you can't ever deny, Brad, what nobody can ever take from you and nobody can ever argue with you is results. You can't argue results. And
right.
man, you're a walking example of what's possible if you just trust the protocol, you stick with it. We got some great things happening here. If you want to find out more about what the actual ER shred is, you can go to ershred.com. If you want to, hear some amazing testimonials of people who have just finished, you want to hear some follow-up stories, join us tomorrow night on our team call. I know those always move me. And then we do a quick little breakdown of what the ER shred is. But there's so much information out there for you guys to find out. Come into the group. I can't just come into the group, see it with your own two eyes, right, Brad? I mean, what's that final message for somebody sitting on the fence, for somebody who's tried it all, for somebody who feels like it's just a failure and it's like, that's it, I give up because I've tried it all? What would you say to that person about the ER shred from
I,
where you're at now?
I would say just go ahead and give it one more shot. Give that one more final shot. Try out the shred and stick with the protocol and see what results you get. And then if that
Yeah.
doesn't work for you, you know,
If that doesn't work for you, I truly believe I'm going to say this from 20 years of coaching and 20 years of being in fitness and health. I'm going to say if it doesn't work for you, something is something we got to figure out. I don't know, because it's this isn't about weight loss or health. It's about addressing the culprits. It's about taking out the bad, putting in the good. I mean, it just from a scientific standpoint, it's just locked and freaking loaded, right? If this doesn't work, nothing else will. And I can confidently say that without a question in my brain, and you've backed that up. So listen, man, I appreciate your time. I admire you as a person. I am so thankful and grateful that we have become friends. I can't wait until all this crazy shit going on in the world is over so we can come together and we can all actually meet each other in person. I want to meet you, your family. Like, I want to know it all. So you keep crushing it. Make sure you reach out. I want to help you fine tune a few more things, a couple mistakes that I've made from where you are at now to where I know you want to be. And I want to help you get there because, man, you're 41, but you look like you're going on 20. And I just want to help you keep that going. I don't know if you're like me, but I still want to be climbing mountains by the time I'm 90. I want to be that crazy person out there climbing those 14,000 footers while everybody else is struggling to put on their shoes. And it's all because we took our health seriously and we kind of made that vouch. So thanks again for your time, Brad. I know you're a busy guy, so I can't wait to hear more and watch you continue to crush it. And I can't wait to see more about what you're going to do, man. I'm really excited for you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Have an awesome night. All right, guys. Tomorrow night, hop on the call, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Peace.